We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Yet some people achieve extraordinary things, while others remain stuck in the same place year after year. The difference isn't always talent, luck, or circumstances. It's how we treat the most precious resource we'll ever have: time. Most of us live as if we have infinite tomorrows, pushing everything to later without realizing that later is the thief that steals our dreams.
What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you're holding a fortune in your hands, but you might be throwing it away without even knowing it?
Today's story is about a young boy who had everything going for him, but was trapped by one destructive habit that nearly cost him his future. Through an encounter with a wise sage and a powerful, life-changing motivational story of a fisherman, he discovered a truth that transformed his entire life. If you've ever found yourself saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I still have plenty of time," this story might be the wake-up call you need. Watch till the end, because these few minutes could change how you see every moment of your life.
Once there lived a young boy who had everything a child could wish for.
His parents loved him dearly. His teachers praised his intelligence, and he lived in a comfortable home.
Yet despite all these blessings, the boy had one terrible habit. He always postponed everything.
When his mother asked him to clean his room, he would say, "I'll do it later, Mom." When his teacher gave him an assignment, he would think, "Still, there's plenty of time to complete it."
When his friends invited him to join extra classes, he would reply, "Maybe next time." Chase. Days turned into months and months into years. While his classmates learned to play instruments, excel in studies, and develop, he was like a tree that refused to grow, while the entire forest flourished around him. One day, after failing yet another important exam, the boy sat alone, feeling frustrated and confused. His father, seeing his distress, said gently, "Son, there is a wise sage who lives at the edge of our town."
The next morning, the boy walked to the sage's simple hut. The old man was sitting peacefully under a tree, his eyes closed in meditation.
When the boy approached, the sage opened his eyes and smiled. "What troubles you, my child?"
The boy replied with frustration.
"Oh, wise one, everyone keeps telling me the time is precious, that I'm wasting my life. But I don't understand why they worry so much. I'm still young. I have my whole life ahead of me. Why should I rush?"
He began. In a small village by the river lived a poor fisherman. Every day before dawn,
This had been his routine for several years. One morning, darker than most, the fisherman made his way to his usual spot. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, and even the stars seemed to have abandoned the sky.
As he walked along the familiar path, he stumbles upon something, bending down. He picked up what felt like a small cloth sack.
It was heavy with what seemed to be stones. Must be some child's collection. Carrying it with him to the riverbank.
The fisherman set down his net and squatted by the water's edge. The darkness was so complete he couldn't even see the river, only hear its gentle flow. Time moved slowly in those pre-dawn hours. With nothing else to do while waiting for sunrise, he reached into the sack and pulled out one of the stones.
It felt smooth and cool in his palm. Without thinking much, he tossed it into the water. Plop! Echoed in the silence.
There was something oddly satisfying about that sound in the stillness. He threw another stone. Plop! Then another plop. Each throw became a small meditation. The fisherman found himself thinking about his life with each stone he cast.
Life is like these stones, he mused to himself. Heavy when you carry them all together, but throw them one by one.
Stone after stone left his hand. He threw them lazily, sometimes trying to throw far, sometimes near, amusing himself with the different sounds they made. The big ones made deep plonks, the small ones gentle plinks as he threw. The sky began its slow transformation. First, a thin line of orange appeared on the horizon. Then, gradually, like an artist's brushstroke, the darkness started retreating. The river began to reveal itself, first as a dark ribbon, then slowly showing its ripples in currents. The fisherman reached into the sack again. His fingers found only one stone left. He held it up, ready for one final throw. When the morning sun's first ray struck it, the stone exploded with light. The fisherman's heart. In his weathered palm lay not a stone, but a diamond.
No, no, no. He turned the empty sack inside out, hoping desperately to find another. Nothing.
What have I done? In my ignorance, in the darkness, I threw away a whole sack of precious diamonds, the wealth that could have fed my family for generations.
He cursed himself. He cried out of his mind with grief. But nothing could be done. The time he had the diamonds has gone.
All of his dreams had been in his hands, literally in his hands. But now nothing.
The sage paused and looked deeply into the boy's eyes.
Do you understand what this story means, my child?
The sage explained gently.
You are like that fisherman, and your life is like that sack of diamonds. Every day, every hour, every moment that passes is a precious gem. But in the darkness of your ignorance,
You say, I'll do it tomorrow, and toss away today's diamond. You say, I'm still young, and throw away this year's treasures.
you believe you have unlimited time? Just as the fisherman believed he had a sack of mere stones.
The darkness represents our lack of awareness about how precious and limited life truly is. By the time most people realize the value of time, when the light of understanding finally dawns, they've already wasted most of their treasures. The boy's eyes widened as understanding began to dawn. The sage continued with warmth in his voice. But here's the hope in this story. You are still young. The sun is just beginning to rise in your life.
Yes, you may have already thrown away some diamonds, but luck, you still have so many left in your sack.
The fisherman was fortunate that dawn came while he still held one diamond. You are even more fortunate. Your dawn is coming while you still hold many years ahead of you.
Fellows.
The sage placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. The question is, now that you know each moment is a diamond,
The boy felt tears in his eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of gratitude and determination.
he bowed deeply to the sage and said,
Thank you, wise one. I understand now. I won't waste another diamond.
From that very day, the boy transformed completely. When his mother asked him to do something, he did it immediately. When his teacher gave him work, he completed it that same day. When opportunities came to learn something new, he grabbed them with both hands.
His classmates were amazed at the change. The boy, who was once known as the school's biggest procrastinator, became its most dependable student.
Within a year, he had caught up with his peers and even surpassed many of them. Years later, when he became a successful and respected man, people would often ask him the secret of his discipline and success.
He would smile and tell them the story of the poor fisherman and his diamonds.
We all have a sack full of diamonds. Each moment of our life is precious beyond measure. But in the darkness of our ignorance, we throw them away, thinking they are worthless stones. The lucky ones are those who realize the truth while they still have diamonds left to spend. Don't wait for the light of understanding to come too late. Recognize the value of your time now while you still have it. Remember, you cannot get back the diamonds you have already thrown away, but treasure every single one you still possess. The dawn is breaking now. If we look at our own lives, we'll realize that we too often treat our precious time like worthless stones. We scroll engines. Remember, you can't control time, but you can control how you use it. Until our next story, stop postponing and